Well, in one of my previous videos, I asked for you guys to vote on the next video you guys wanted to see, and by far the most votes went to an updated tour of my kayak. But the second most votes were for the top 5 baits of 2016 for me. So I thought I'd give you guys that video today. You know, I did a video like this last year for top 5 baits of 2015. Some of these baits are the same, some are new. But again, these baits are the 5 baits that I had the most success with this past season of fishing. Again, I went to a few different places across the country to fish. Started out in Southern California, and then I moved up to the California Delta. Started July, mid-July, I went to the Adirondack Mountains. Then to finish out the year, I moved back here into the Finger Lakes. So definitely my fair share of locations. These 5 baits, again, are the ones that overall, collectively, I had the most success with this season. Before I get started, I just wanted to thank you guys, all of my subscribers out there. I really appreciate the support. Obviously, it's a little cooler here in New York. Fishing's slowing down. I'm not getting out on the kayak as much. So I am making kind of these type of videos for the next month and a half or so. But I will tell you, I'm not revealing where yet. Probably some of you have an idea. But I will be moving south in February. So look forward to some hopefully great fishing videos and more tournament videos by mid-February, end of February, and yeah, that's when the fishing should pick up again for me at least. But again, in the meantime, thanks for the support. Thanks for watching these videos. I hope you guys still enjoy them. You know, they're fun to make. I like to kind of review the year and review baits and do updates on my kayak, stuff like that. So thanks again for watching. Hope you guys enjoy them. So top 5 baits. I'm going to run through each one of these baits and just kind of give you a description of what I'm throwing the bait on as far as rod and reel, line setup, some of the presentations or tactics I'll utilize for each one of the baits. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to sort of put a compilation together of me just catching fish on these baits in no particular order, but just maybe showing you guys some footage that you may not have seen from this past year. So stay tuned towards the end for that. So let's get into my top 5 baits of 2016. We're going to start at number 5 and work our way to number 1. So number 5, this is actually a Spro Little John, and you know what? This was the one bait that I kind of was up in the air about. It was either the Spro Little John or the KVD 1.5. I had really good success with shallow running crankbaits very early on in the year, talking February, early March, and then kind of later in the year, October, November, so that late winter, early spring, and then late fall. I chose the Spro Little John over the KVD 1.5 because I simply caught them in both seasons. The KVD 1.5 probably caught me more fish in February, March, but I didn't catch any on the KVD 1.5 in October, November. All of them were caught on the Spro Little John. I really like the 1.5 and the Spro Little John, but again, the Spro Little John won out because collectively I caught more fish on it throughout the year. So as far as setup goes, this is probably the cheapest setup as you'll ever find. I got a loose speed spool on here for the reel, 6:4:1 gear ratio, and again, a Gander Mountain Guide Series rod. This is a discontinued rod. I bought it like 3.5 years ago. It was on sale. I think it was like 30 bucks. And it has held up ever since. I've used jigs on this, crankbaits, chatterbaits, you know, you name it. It's held up. It's super sensitive. It's lightweight. If I could find this rod, and trust me, I've looked for it again. I found actually one other rod and I ordered it. But if I could find 10 more of these rods, I'd buy them in a heartbeat, even if they were 100 bucks. So great rod, great reel, super cheap. I throw this crankbait on 10-pound vicious fluorocarbon. And again, this is my number 5 bait of 2016. Caught me a lot of good fish early on in the year and later in the year. Number 4, and this is a repeat from 2015 top 5 baits. It's the Drop Shot, same bait, the Zoom Z Drop, same setup. I've got this on a Phoenix Maxim 7.2 spinning rod. I got the Shimano Stratic on here for the reel. 12-pound Power Pro braid with a 10-pound vicious fluorocarbon leader for the Drop Shot setup. Hooks for this vary for me. I'll use either an Aaron Martin's Drop Shot finesse hook, size 2, or I'll go to a 2-aught Trocar finesse hook depending on how much vegetation is in the area and if I want to keep it weedless or not. Weight will depend on the depth I'm fishing and the wind. But again, this has been just a consistent fish catching bait for me. You know, all times of year it works. And when I'm fishing in the early spring or fishing in the fall or even the summer. You know, it's just a very, very versatile bait. You can sight fish with it. You can fish blind with it. It doesn't matter. It's just a great bait when the bite is tough, when the water's slick, and you need to catch a few. So the Zoom Z-Drop, again, just a staple in my arsenal, and I don't see this bait going anywhere for me. I think it's always going to be a player in the future years to come. So, you know, great, outstanding bait for me. I keep it pretty simple. Green pumpkin and purple smoke are the colors that I primarily use. Great value as well. You get a 20 pack for I think like $3, and they float. So, you know, I highly recommend this bait for a drop shot bait if you're looking for some. Number 3, my third best bait of 2016 is the Big Bite Baits Warmouth. This bait for me is a bedding bait, and you know, like I said, I started out the year in Southern California. The fish were on beds by, you know, February, end of February, mid-February, and then I moved up to the Delta, and the fish were still on beds. And you know, there was basically a good window of time where I was fishing for bedding fish, and this Big Bite Baits Warmouth in this specific color, chartreuse, was the ticket. Best bedding bait I've ever used. I've got this on a Mojo bass rod. This is a 7-foot medium power rod, and I've got 20-pound fluorocarbon on this setup. I've got a Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier reel, 7:1 gear ratio. And as far as the rod goes, I use a medium. I like that extra bend in the rod when you're bed fishing because, you know, like most people, I think when we see a fish eat our bait or see our line take off, you know, our natural tendency is to really swing at that fish and set the hook hard. And, you know, if you're using a heavy rod or a medium heavy rod, you might pull that bait right out of the mouth. So I like that extra bend just to give you a little bit more play in the rod so you don't, you know, rip that hook or that bait out of the fish's mouth. But I like the 20-pound fluorocarbon because it's just strong line. It's stronger line. A lot of people will tell you when you're fishing for bedding fish, especially in clear water, you know, you need to downsize, you need to use really light line. Well, for this kind of bait right here, the warmouth, I'm not really looking to catch a hungry fish. I'm looking to catch a ticked off fish. And this bait really upsets the bass. It is so aggravating when you drop this weight on their bed and you flutter this thing up and down. They just go absolutely nuts for it. I would say this past year, there was maybe one bedfish that I could not catch with this warmouth bait, and that says something because in the years past, that's not been the case. But I like the chartreuse color because it's highly visible in the water, especially if you have some polarized sunglasses on, and if the bed's a little bit deeper, you know, it's easier to see your bait, and you're just looking at your bait anyways most of the time to see if it disappears in that deeper water. And when it disappears, you know one has it in its mouth. So that's why I opt for the chartreuse color. Number 2 bait of 2016 for me is the Z-Man Custom Chatterbait. This bait for me caught fish year round, from pre-spawn to post-spawn to fall to early winter. You know, caught fish in temps of, you know, 82, 83 degrees, and then I caught fish in low 40 temps on this bait. So absolutely phenomenal bait. I think it's probably the most versatile bait you can use year round because I believe you can catch fish any time of year on this particular bait, which you really can't say for a lot of baits. Again, one of my favorite rods and one of the cheapest rods I own, a Gander Mountain Guide Series rod, 7-foot medium heavy. I've got a Shimano Curado on here, and I've got 20-pound fluorocarbon for the line. I will usually use like 12-pound just to get better action out of the bait, but this is just what it happens to be on at the moment. Again, you know, I really feel like this is one of the few baits that you can throw any time of the year and have a good chance of catching a bass. Awesome bait, definitely my number 2 bait for 2016. And the number 1 bait for 2016, again, this is a repeat from last year, but you know, it's again a bait that I'm always going to throw. I have a ton of confidence in, and just plain catches big fish, and that is the Booyah Pad Crasher. Black and yellow is by far my favorite color. I've got this on a Quantum Smoke with a Denali Lithium Series frog rod. 50-pound Power Pro braid on this. A lot of people ask why I throw 50 and not something bigger. Well, I don't have a problem with 50. I've never had a fish break me off on 50-pound. Maybe the day that happens, I'll go to something bigger, but I can make longer casts with 50-pound, and I'm going to stick with it until something else happens. But again, this bait caught so many big fish for me this year, and not only did this bait catch me a lot of big fish, it caught me a lot of big tournament fish. I didn't fish too many tournaments this year, but the ones that I did fish were pretty much June, July, and August, those 3 months. And you know, when I throw this bait in tournaments and I get a bite, it's usually a good fish. So, you know, again, caught me a lot of big fish, but more importantly, a lot of big tournament fish, which helped me do pretty well in tournaments this past year. So yeah, those are my top 5 baits for 2016. Really great year of fishing for me. If you didn't see it, I'd recommend you check out my top 10 catches of 2016. A lot of these baits were players in those catches. So I'll put a link in the video for that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions on these baits or setups or anything at all, check the description below or leave a comment, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you guys just some kind of miscellaneous clips of fish catches from these baits of 2016. We've got a lot of big plans for 2017 YouTube, so you know, stay tuned for a video on that, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of this video. That's what we're looking for. Little salad with him. And he's not even that big, but hey, it's fun to catch him like that. That cast too. I'll take that for that one. Oh, thank you, sir.
What the fucking
Alrighty, man.
Dude. Look at that thing.
Nice, dude.
Found, dude. Just large and in charge. It's like not long at all, dude, but it's so fat.
Well, football. It's a good one. Yeah, dude, it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. I'm going in for it. Be a mess right here. I don't know if I'll be able to get this. Yeah. Dude, it didn't look that big. Oh. Oh, yo, this is a different fish. actually hooked pretty good. Nice fish. Good looking fish. It's crazy. I think I figured him out, guys. This is a weird pattern. A really weird pattern. It's a very odd pattern here. So it's a drop shot. But what I'll do is I'll kind of sight fish him, and I'll make a cast right past him, and then I'll kind of get the bait close to it, kind of reel it in, get the bait close to the fish, and start snapping it up and down, and that like erratic motion of the weight and the worm is like triggering them to strike. So dead sticking it, not the case today, but you know, it just kind of goes to show if you just start playing around with how you're retrieving the bait and experimenting a little bit, you can, you know, get them to bite. There's always some way to catch them. You just got to figure them out. Oh, there's a big one right there. Can't see him. Ah, I lost him. Oh, there's a big one. Oh, he's going for it. There we go. There we go. Snapping the bait. That's all it took. That erratic motion. That erratic motion of the worm caught me that fish right there. And there's another big one down there with it.